able to watch what's going on camera. You have to be able to look at the script. You have to be able to listen to the director. You have to be able to fall into the character and then to sustain the character simultaneously.
Most important thing in production for me, for this kind of thing, it's your script. If you're making a house, that's your foundation. Everything goes up on top of that. And if your script is a mess, if it's not real tight, like as far as with the lip flaps and all that, you are so screwed. When you get into this studio and then you got to sit there and change lines on the fly. And there's an actor standing there in the booth and the clock is ticking and everybody's getting upset.
This is the first time we've been, you know, like introducing stuff.
So this is actually in a therapy session afterwards, because Brenda has refused to talk to you.
If I'm confused about a character and I don't know what's going on, what that character is supposed to be expressing, the director will guide me through that, and I rely on the directors a lot. A good director is priceless to me. A good writer is priceless also, especially in anime, because if you don't have the right amount of flaps to get it out properly, you got to make something up.
Most of the time, a director will show you the line that you're about ready to record.
And I always love to hear the preview because you can get out of that so much. You can get emotion, tone of voice, anything that's going to reveal itself about that character. You know, you can pick up in the Japanese, even though you can't understand it.
All right, here we go.
Then it's your turn to try.
All right, ready to go.
So now all the original Japanese is taken out, and in some cases you still have the music and effects fed into your headphones, and you're going to get a 3-beep cue that brings you in.
You hear beep,
Beep, beep.
And then you start on the 4th beep.
And that should put you at exactly the spot where that mouth starts to open.
I'm sorry, but I'm not authorized to say anything right now.
And then, you know what? You go for it. You say the line and you hope it comes out right.
Wow, you're confident, aren't you? All right. Now that I think about it, you guys don't have any girls in your club.
Oh, maybe I should pick up just that last line.
There it is. Wow. Well, hi guys. Welcome to Comic-Con and welcome to Inside the Voice Actors Studio. Woo is right. Okay, good. It's Thursday. You're already wooing. That's a good sign. Good. Just before we get started, I just want to talk a little bit about what you just saw there. That's actually a segment out of Adventures in Voice Acting. It's this one's centered on anime. It's a great documentary. It's 2 hours for those of you who are interested in being voice actors. It really is a compelling story. When I finished watching it, I kind of went, "Ooh, God, I want to be a voice actor." And then I went, "I am." So, but you can find it at 4415. Booth 4415, the Bandai booth. They actually have these available if you want to take care of it. And also, Adventures in Voice Acting is also sponsoring a brand new product, which is an audio series, which is these little 30 to 40-minute lessons. And they'll be available come Saturday, starting on the website, which is www.adventuresinvoiceacting.com. And we also do a bunch of workshops. The next ones are in Los Angeles in August. So you can find all about that or come up and ask me about it. All right, so let's get started, shall we? Cool. All right, this is special because it's Comic-Con. We only usually just do this with one guest, but we have two. So let me tell you about the first guest that's going to be with us today. He's a 20-year veteran in video game development and production. He's currently the CEO and director of Tikamon Productions, Inc., and helps produce some of the world's leading multi-million selling video games, including titles such as Gears of War, Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Need for Speed, The Matrix: Path of Neo, Scarface, The World Is Yours, and Baldur's Gate, just to name a few. He's cast and directed some of the world's leading celebrities, including Gary Oldman, Christopher Plummer, Elijah Wood, who was around here today, Mark Hamill, James Woods, William Shatner, Ron Perlman, Seth Green, Rob Paulson, Jeff Bennett, Nolan North, and of course, our other guests, who I'll tell you about in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chris Borders. Have a seat, man. Our next guest, our second one, over the past 2 decades, he's built an extraordinary voiceover career with his amazing acting range and uncanny ability to create realistic creature sounds. I tried to download this guy's filmography, and I ran out of ink. There's that much stuff. He's worked extensively in television animation, such shows as SpongeBob SquarePants, Avatar, The Last Airbender, Codename Kids Next Door, yes, Nickelodeon's Legends of the Hidden Temple, and his creature vocalizations are featured in games like Gears of War 1 and 2, Halo 1 and 2, Portal, Left and Dead, and his feature film includes zombie sounds for Dawn of the Dead remake, Space Jam, Daffy Duck and Taz, that's so impressive, and Happy Feet, G-Force, and Astro Boy. Ladies and gentlemen, D. Bradley Baker.
All right. All right, let's do this.
So I want to talk about the importance of making an entrance. No, I just... All right. So this works a little differently than a lot of these panels in which we're going to talk a little bit more personally, a little more in depth, and we'll take your questions, some questions at the end. And in the middle, there's going to be a chance for some of you to come up and actually try your hand at voice acting and let these lovely gentlemen tell you why you shouldn't. No, just kidding.
You mean we get to bring the audience in on the show and they get to do it themselves?
They get to do it themselves. Isn't that amazing? It's all, yeah.
That's the way to do it.
All right, so I want to just really quickly, just roots and beginnings. I mean, there's some, you each come from someplace. Where did you come from? Where did you grow up? What, where's your nexus where you begin?
Well, I'll start. I'm from Southern California, original native. I grew up in Garden Grove, California, which is just north of here, but about middle between LA and San Diego. And I got into this industry kind of via the music industry. I was a musician for many years, high school, all throughout my early 20s. And, sorry, I will speak into the mic, Your Honor. So, so pretty much in a nutshell, I got into the video game industry. I was always a video game fan, because I go back to the day when literally it was Pong. And of course, and everything else that came after that. So I kind of saw it from its early incarnations to where it is today. And I was so fortunate enough to be able to work on it. I was also a huge fan of television and every kind of media. I mean, I loved... I was one of those guys that, that watched Star Trek and it's, when it was on. I mean, it was something, I watched every episode numerous times. I watched, everything.
Didn't everybody?
Movies would come out, everything. My parents were very liberal, so I was lucky. I saw The Exorcist when it first came out when I was 10. Very disturbing, gave me a lot of nightmares, but it taught me something. So yeah, I work off a lot of that. So after the music business, I went into music as far as selling equipment, because I was a keyboard player and I worked with MIDI and computers and whatnot. And this was in the early stages of what we call digital recording. At the time, we were recording mostly to DAT tape. And that was the early incarnation. And then slowly we phased on to hard disk recording, and that was first a product we call Digidesign. And it was called Sound Designer, which eventually became what is now the industry standard, Pro Tools. At every recording studio in the entire industry is Pro Tools. That's pretty much the main thing we record with. I became an editor, and I was hired by a small company at the time in Irvine, California called Interplay Productions. And my first job was to go to Hollywood to sit in on a recording session with Mr. George Takei for a Star Trek game.
Wow, that's not a bad first gig.
And so, of course, coming from a background of, literally watching these guys on TV to literally working with them, it was, kind of like partially a dream come true and very surreal at the same time, kind of a very odd feeling. And I did end up working with all the original cast members, including DeForest Kelley and the late Jimmy Doohan, both. So that kind of was my start into this business, which is a little crazy, but it gave me a really good launch. And then from that point, I started supervising all the productions for Interplay. That was nearly over 100 titles in my 10 years that I worked there. Baldur's Gate, some of you might be familiar with that franchise, which was a pretty big one by BioWare when they first started off. And And then from there, 2003, I decided that it was time to work with everybody. I've been doing this a long time. I knew everybody. I knew all the great agents, some of here whom are in the room. I won't say who they are. And I knew a lot of the actors. And so I decided that, this might be fun to work with everybody. And so immediately I went on my own, started my own company, Tiki Man Productions, and incorporated. And I've been now working on just about every top title there is out there now, like the ones you mentioned, and you name it across the board. I work with lots of different companies, Electronic Arts, Microsoft, Activision, Epic Games, THQ.
I'll have my demo to you by the end of the day.
So I've been very fortunate, that I got into it early, and I got a chance to meet people like Mr. D. Bradley Baker.
So D, where did you come from? You grew up in Colorado, I saw?
Yeah, I grew up in Colorado, a little white nerdling in Colorado, and I always did lots of performing in second grade. Hello, can you guys see us clear back? I want to stand on the table so you can see us back there. I started doing plays and musicals in second grade, and ventriloquism. I thought that was fun, and I like live performing. I never studied acting, but I always did it. And then as I grew up, I did different kinds of performing, from stand-up to summer stock Shakespeare to singing telegrams, children's theater, corporate shows, just anything I could do to stay out of an office and earn a living. I didn't study it in college, as I said. I studied other things. But I always loved monsters, monster movies, sci-fi, Planet of the Apes, 2001: A Space Odyssey, Godzilla. That was this kind of stuff that I thought was really cool as a kid. And so happily, and Star Wars, and happily now I get to do that kind of stuff as an actor, as a voice actor now.
Cool gig.
Yeah, all right.
So this is Adventures in Voice Acting here. In terms of how you guys approach you've got a director and voice actor here, and they're both about storytelling, but they're coming from different angles. When you're approaching a character, either how you're going to direct it or how you're going to create it, do you work internally out? Do you work with how the character looks and then develop the sound that way, or is it more about who the character is? And how do you approach character creation in some of this, especially the games?
I'll start it off because it kind of starts with me. I work with the developer hand in hand. We start off, and they usually have an idea for what the kind of characters they want. Whether it be anime or video games, it's just like a film. And we start off with, pretty much a basic copy, a one-page description. I have to whittle it down sometimes as they get a little overboard onto his cousin's brother's friend had dark hair. And of course, people like Mr. D here would probably not need to know that to do an audition for it. So I kind of whittle it down to a more simpler format, and then I send it off to the agencies, and we get people to start reading on them. The agents usually have a pretty good bearing for who they know will be good for what, and we start getting these people to read on them. A lot of these actors now have their own recording studios, as well as the agencies also have studios. And with the basic description of what we start off with, the actors come in and we get a variety of auditions. And then once it goes to, I should say, let Dee talk about it, what the experience is like of him getting a copy from, say, someone like me, and doing his audition.
Yeah, when I get a piece of copy for an audition, what I want to do is to get a lock on the kind of tone that I imagine that the producers want, that the creators of this want. And so it's a great help that I've spent so many hours of my life playing video games and watching cartoons and watching movies and reading fantastical books. All of these things that set up the icons that most things tend to gravitate towards. And so when you're reading the copy, you want to get a lock on the right kind of pace and the right kind of tone, that when they hear it, and you may do one or two different takes on it, but it's got to be something that sounds like, yep, that's it. We could just insert that right into our project, and that's going to work. And so ultimately, my task is to diagnose that and to deliver that solution to that puzzle in a fully formed way that they could just say, yep, that's it. Not, you know, that's pretty good, but if we directed him a lot, then maybe we could find exactly what we want. No, your job as an actor, as a voice actor, putting together your little audition, and a lot of times, I mean, like most of mine I just do on my own. I have to diagnose that and direct it and sort of envision that and get a lock on that all myself and deliver that in a fully formed final performance.
So without, how do you, is there a particular way you do that? I mean, because you have no guidance when you just have a little bit of a description. Or
I do it with my mind. You know,
it does depend on the director you're working for, since you know the directors and
it does.
like that?
It helps to know that. It helps to know maybe the gaming company or the writer of the television show or even the network that it's going to be on. Mm-hmm. And if you're familiar with the kinds of shows that this will go along with, that the tone of that, and that suggests a pace, it suggests certain parameters of the broadness of character, all of those things. If you have a picture of all the constellation of these things that surround this little piece of copy invisibly, but if you're familiar with that, that gives you much of the information you know to give your solution to that puzzle. So you need to know these other things. You can't be sitting in a little box. You've got to watch Winnie the Pooh. You've got to watch Lord of the Rings. You've got to play Portal 2. You've got to read, the fan literature. You've got to know all these things so that you know what they're looking for, so you can give it to them.
I mean, I think that Dee brings a really valid point to what we do, is the fact that because we are fans ourselves, we kind of can embrace this stuff. I don't think it'd be easy for anybody who just was a regular person who just didn't care about the media.
Yeah.
You have to really be a fan. I mean, we have to be like one of you, you know? I mean, you guys are pretty much like us, and everybody who comes to something like this is pretty much kind of like us. You know, we really have to be a big fan to really know exactly what that developer's after. And we got to know these trends, you know? I mean, who's watching Game of Thrones right now? Okay, that's up there.
Right now?
I mean, you know... But again, the whole point of that is that it's something where you have to embrace things like this because you get a lot out of it. I guarantee you that the next trend, if that show gets an Emmy, will be for me to do a video game based on that.
Yeah,
and if I don't know it.
And it's my responsibility to know that. I mean, there are shows that I watch and movies that I make myself go see that may not be the kind of show I want to see, but I know that I need to know what this is. I need to know what this is up here. It's very important to know that.
So what are you a fan of? What is, either what you like to watch or coolest thing you've worked on, but what are you a fan of?
Oh, gosh. I mean, I probably have a diversity that goes from one end to the other. I mean, I love everything from anime, Hayao Miyazaki, I love his work, to, the greatest films that are out there today, and some of the greatest directors, I mean, so for me, my challenge in the world of working on video games is across the board nowadays. I mean, it used to be, we'd get these games and they'd be like, okay, so we got these really funny characters and we need some really cute voices for them. And that kind of started off in the early 90s. And then we had a couple that were sort of serious, but they still kind of played them up a lot. And then it slowly evolved to like, now we want these things to sound like real movies and real TV shows. They have to represent the product or the genre that they're trying to match up to. And especially with the quality of the equipment today that we have. We have these amazing flat screen, high definition televisions. The games are in high def. A lot of times you're probably playing your game through the same system that you're watching, your TV shows and your Blu-ray films on. And so if you don't get that same experience audio-wise with the voice acting, you're going to be like, why is this so bad and why is this so good? So you have to have that balance, in between. I worked on Tron, which did okay. It was a kind of an interesting comeback, but we did it last year. And when I was brought to the challenge of doing this, I thought, gosh, I remember that movie, and wow, it's really come a long way. But how are we going to approach this from where they're going with it now? And we were only allowed to see so much of it because, of course, it hadn't come out yet, and we were already working in development. And of course, the side of Disney Pictures and the side of Disney Interactive, you know, they only allow us to get so much to work on these things. And so the challenge was how we need to match this up as close as possible, because they're going to watch the movie and they're going to pop the video game in and they might go back and forth. And so we have to make sure that the sound is dead on. And there's one person in this room, I won't say who actually did the voice of one of the big celebrities in Tron, who was in the original Tron. And he did it so well, no one can tell.
Can you not say his voice? Can you not say his name?
Sure I can. Mr. Fred Tatasciore.
Fred Tatasciore, yeah! Yeah! Woo! Yeah! Go, Fred, go! Go, Fred! You can do it! Yeah! Go, Fred, go! Go! Awesome! Not home.
Someone get him some oxygen. Okay.
Fred's awesome. Fred and I did Creatures on Gears of War together. It was really cool. But you know, we're a bunch of crazy show-offs. But let me get back to that. Is that the enthusiasm that you see is an enthusiasm that you must have in order to be an actor to begin with, because that's what I am above all things. I'm not someone who does crazy sounds or weird voices. Ultimately, I have to be an actor. If I'm not that, I will not get hired to do anything. And so people say, well, what should I do, you know, to be a voice actor? Well, first you must become an actor. You must become your flavor of an actor, and best of all, a live performer. Most everybody I know that works on this constantly, they either come from live music or radio or stand-up or from the stage. But I'm not sure I can think of anybody who doesn't have a good amount of live, professional, that is paid, performing experience. You must have that, because that, in the crucible of live performing, you get from that a confidence that is your particular flavor of confidence that you will then bring to the bigger city or to the bigger market that you're going to go to. But you must find that yourself in front of an audience, I think. So it doesn't necessarily help to study. It mostly helps to do. That's the main thing, is you've got to try performing and acting. And everybody I know, they love acting. They may not love all the kinds, like video games or all the different kinds of movies, but they love performing. Corey Burton, he's not somebody I would imagine that sits and watches and plays video games and that kind of stuff, but he knows what this comes from. He knows Shakespeare, he knows storytelling, he knows radio drama, he knows the history of performing, and he loves it, and he cares about it so much that he carries around a special microphone that makes his voice sound a certain way because he cares about it so very much. It's not for the people who think, you know, that sounds like I could make a lot of money. I think I want to be a voice actor. No, it's people who love performing and love that kind of storytelling and attacking a character and attacking a story and making it just a perfect show with your fellow performers, whether it's something for little tiny kids or for 18 plus.
So what is it, the thing? So that segues me into what I was going to next. The one thing, because I'm asked this a lot, if you give me one of the many things that's important that these guys should be thinking about if they want to become a professional voice actor, what should they do? Or something, piece of advice that you might be able to give them?
You know, I get a lot of people who send me emails and they say, you know, I really love the media. I love what's going on. I really thought, you know, people said I have a great voice, and I thought maybe I could be a voice actor. My advice to them is always the same. Get out a book first, a big book, and read it out loud. And just start reading it out loud. Read in front of a mirror, read in front of your parents, read in front of your friends. Just read it, and just read it and read it and read it. If you don't like that, if you're not enjoying that, you don't want to be a voice actor. Because I mean, the crucible to voice acting, number one, is you gotta be an amazing reader. You really, really gotta love copy. You gotta love to read. You gotta love to read a lot.
Pick something good to read too, like Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. Read that out loud. Try that. Or The Hobbit. Read that out loud.
Yeah.
I mean, something that's really got some character and some brilliant storytelling, and then read it, like you're saying. A lot of it.
I mean, as a director, when I'm sitting down and I'm going over copy before the day I go in to start to direct these things, if I'm lucky, I get the copy before the day I start to direct these things. I sit down and probably kind of like what Dee and a lot of actors do, I go over the characters, except I'm not playing a character. I'm working with all the actors that are playing these characters. So knowing what the characters are and knowing the actors, what I actually do is I actually go through it and I speak it out loud to myself, and I do it in all the character voices. I'm not a voice actor. I'd love to be, but it's not my forte. And so, but I do it. I speak it out loud. My wife comes up and says, "What on earth are you doing?" You know, because I'm making all these crazy noises and I probably sound terrible. But the thing is that if I don't know it that intimately on that kind of a story level, I can't sit and direct the actors how I perceive the story to go. I mean, I might catch a piece in there and I'm saying it out loud and I'm hearing it to myself. I'm like, that's not funny. You know, we should probably do this and this. And I know when Dee gets it, then Dee's going to express upon that, and it's going to be funnier, or it's going to make more of an expression, or it's going to tell the story better. You know, that's part of my job. And then Dee can take it that much further when I say, "Hey, Dee, you know, I had this great idea the other day. I was going over it, and I said, boom, boom, boom. I thought this would be really, really funny if you said this." And then he does it, and then we look at the producer, and they say, "No, no, no. Don't just lie."
And see, what Chris is talking about is great, because Chris really cares, and Chris is really good at what he does. He's absolutely at the top. And that's what you as an actor want. You want somebody who knows what they want. That saves everyone so much time and saves you so much work and so much voice, is if they have a clear idea of what they want and then can express it clearly and concisely, then you got a session that sails. That's really what you want. Yeah, and that's what you deliver.
Yeah. And, you know, it's really interesting. I work with a lot of celebrities and have over the years. I've worked with hundreds of celebrities and cast hundreds of celebrities.
Famous people.
I mean, you name it. And I'd much rather be working with my friend here any day of the week. However, some are quite good. But that is one of the things that I've heard in my 20 years of doing this from celebrities is, and you probably won't believe this, but it's true. They'll come into the booth, they've never done voiceover before, and they said, "I had no idea how hard this would be. I was thinking I would come in here in my sweats, you know, I'm showing up at 10 a.m., usually I have to be at makeup at 6 a.m. on a set. I mean, we're doing like 49 scenes. That takes us 3 years to do that in a film."
Oh, I love to hear stories of
you know,
famous people complaining about voice acting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's almost as much fun as of famous people trying to do voice acting who are difficult to work with. I like those stories too.
And then inevitably I get the halfway point in the session, maybe 2 hours in, it's like, "You want me to yell more than 2 hours? I can't do that." I mean, yes, I need you to yell for more than 2 hours.
Oh, foolish famous person.
Well, we have a few people in here that like to try being famous people, so don't we let them voice act a little bit, huh?
Sounds great.
All right, let me get a volunteer.
Who's quiet? Who's quiet? Who's got their quiet voice?
I don't have my quiet voice on.
Little boy. Boy, laugh. Little girl.
Come up.
Don't be shy, you're a voice actor.
Okay.
I'm just starting to play this.
Nice. Excellent.
We're going to stand right here. Where are we? All right, so I want you to take a look. Actually, that's the character description there. Yeah, the actual dialogue.
But I didn't get to read that.
Okay, there you go. You take a look at that
Which
really
character
quickly.
are we reading today,
We're
sir?
gonna
This is
read
Ashley.
Ashley Williams.
Ashley.
And this is from Mass Effect, which some of you might be familiar with. Electronic Arts, BioWare.
Yeah.
They think they have a fairly good presence here because I believe 3 is coming out.
Yes,
That's
it
what I
is.
hear.
All right, so whenever you're ready,
And do I respond to you? Is this how it's...
Yeah. That's
go ahead and
fine.
read it out to the group, though, because
just
everybody
either
else
way.
is here to look at you.
Skipper? Is that not it?
Are we going to read with her, or is she just reading it straight
Why
through?
don't you read with her?
Oh, okay, I'll read it with you.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Let's start again.
So I'm Ashley, that's that.
Yep.
All the bolts.
Just
Right.
the bold ones.
Skipper?
You don't have to call me that. I'm a traitor now. I probably shouldn't even be wearing this uniform. Let's skip to.
You are.
Let's skip to your line.
Inevitably caught in the chain of various, webbing and routes in a game. So let's start off with D. You start off with the player character, don't you think?
Yeah.
And we'll start there, and then you'll do the 2 lines after.
Yes, sir.
Don't you think we're a little past titles?
We had to do this, Shepard. You know that. There was no other way. And you'll always be skipper to me. Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Don't start with that poetry crap again. As I recall, the captain dies in that poem.
Next time, I'll stick with the Heinlein.
Now, this is interesting copy to me because, Heinlein, you know who we're talking about? The science fiction writer? One more reason to be reading stuff. Also, it's interesting here, the description of her character, like Michelle Rodriguez from Lost, is the first line. So once again, it pays to know what's out there, to have that on your radar when you're doing this, because that's a huge clue. Not to say you necessarily have to do exactly that, but that gives you the tone that they're thinking of.
One of the things that we had to do when we did Mass Effect is we wanted it to be like a very serious sci-fi drama. BioWare, they're big fans of shows like Firefly, 24, and so these were things that were told to me, we need to try and capture that sound that those shows have. So in your
Drop it
reading
down a
there,
little.
yeah, dropping it down,
Yep.
pulling it back. I know you're just kind of coming up here and you got all these people around you. Typically, we'd be in a booth and it'd be very kind of personal.
Yeah.
Have a big piece of glass. You'd be sitting in like what looks like a fish tank, and I'd be behind a bunch of what looks like wires and big console and an engineer. But we'd be like talking about this,
Yeah.
kind of like we are sort of now. And what I would say to you probably is, let's pull it back a bit,
Yeah.
let's drop it down a little bit and just relax the voice
Okay.
and just try and not act it so much.
All right.
Let's try the same scene in game.
Okay.
Okay. Starting from Dawn.
Don't you think we're a little past titles?
We had to do this, Shepard. You know that. There was no other way. And you'll always be skipper to me. Oh, Captain, my Captain.
Don't start with that poetry crap again.
There you go.
All right, very good.
job.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Nice job.
Good job.
Can I ask a brief question?
Yes.
Just while I'm here. Smiling, right? It boosts your performance in circumstances or all the time? Can I smile my way through
yes.
that and still give the right performance?
You could. Sometimes a smile can actually change your performance.
Yes.
And that's actually a direction I give. So that can make a difference.
Okay,
yeah.
cool. Thank you
Yes,
very much.
excellent.
All right, great. And I have a Lucky Star poster for you. Thank you very much. Give her a big hand.
Hey, give it up.
All right. Come on, Eric, grab the mic. What's your name?
I'm Nolan.
Nolan, and we're
Nolan?
reading Gears of War here, Marcus.
Okay.
Oh.
A little background on Gears of War. Mr. D. Baker has done a variety of the creatures in Gears of War. And you thought that was all sound effects. Yeah. That other actor in the room does all the real deep ones.
Yeah.
Fred!
All right. Well, let's go ahead and read the scene, shall we?
So you would like to do,
Today.
you're doing Marcus Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. So D,
Okay.
if you could read all the other characters. Anya's a female. Dom's
Anya and Dom?
Anya's a female. Dom's a,
Okay.
You play this game.
Okay, and you're Marcus, right?
Yes. Okay. Control! This is Delta! Hang on, he's still in the hospital.
Still here, Marcus. I'm looking at patient logs. Tell Dom I may have to have a lead on his wife, but...
That was way too close.
Anya, what'd you find?
A lead on Jane Doe, but it doesn't look like she... I'll fill you later, Dom. This place is falling apart. Control out.
Damn it! Roger that. Control! Engineering the hospital now. Delta out. Grab some cover. We gotta dig in before we can get down there. Rock, you're with us. Let's move! Yes, sir, Sergeant!
Shame to be wasting a perfectly good ride like that.
Let's head into that store, Delta. We can get a drop on him from there.
Okay.
Good job. Very nice. And that's, of course, trying to match the vocal stylings of someone like John DiMaggio, who does the voice of Marcus Phoenix, which is, he's got a very, very gravelly, deep voice. So excellent job. Fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Give him a big hand. I have a When They Cry box set.
Thank you.
Very cool thing. I'll need that, though.
All right.
Thanks a lot. What time?
Ooh, what'd you get?
When They Cry.
Oh, it looks so sad.
It's very cool. It's very dark. Okay,
When they
hang on.
cry,
Two
there
more
are
people.
tears.
2 more lucky victims.
Okay. Okay.
And what's your name?
Kelly, okay, Kelly, hold that.
Kelly,
microphone
let's
real
go
close.
ahead and start on not the first page of where it says Skipper at the top there. Let's give you something challenging to do. Let's go ahead and start at the top of the next page when it starts with Dad loves all those sand pop poets. Yeah, and actually, if you could start her off on the bottom.
Yep.
Of the next page.
Okay.
there, and we'll let her read the whole section.
Yeah, and the nice thing with this, you see it's very nicely prepared here, is that next to each line it actually gives you a very specific direction about the spin that they're looking for each line to help you. It's okay to take a little breath and a moment in between each of these lines because they're each recorded separately, distinctly from each other, and you can reset yourself, make sure that you look at that the description or the adjective, and then go after that intent. Okay?
And that's a very rare thing in the video game industry.
Yes.
To have these little side and direction notes. The developer at BioWare actually knows what they're doing.
Yeah. So I'll start with reading the first Robert Heinlein line to start you off, and then you go. Okay? Here we go. First Robert Heinlein, now Walt Whitman. You're full of surprises.
Dad loved all those sappy poets. Mom was
Good.
more
Start the
into
line over again. If you flub it, that's okay.
Yeah.
If you flub it, just stop and start it again. No apologies. No need to worry about it. Just start it again. I'll lead you in again, and we'll start it. You don't need to ever apologize for flubbing it or messing up. You just stop it and start it again. If you did it and you think you did it terribly, you say, look, let me give it to you one more time, and then you give it one more time.
Everybody does it too.
Yeah, everyone does that. There's no shame in that. So let's just take it again.
All right, we'll call it take 2.
First Robert Heinlein, now Walt Whitman. You are full of surprises.
Dad loved all those sappy poets. Mom was more into Plath. I'm not a word person, Shepard. Other people say what I mean better than I do. We're mutineers sailing a stolen warship into the most hostile system in the galaxy. I couldn't blame the council for calling us reckless or aggressive.
Just a few months ago, you would have.
I've had some things to think about since coming aboard.
Nice job.
Excellent.
Great job. Very, very natural. Very pulled back. Excellent.
Any other comments for me? And I have a Lucky Star box set. Thanks.
All right,
Give him a
Thank
big
you.
hand.
Thank you.
And our last victim here, got him on Captain David Anderson. That script.
Excellent.
So, okay. So let them tell you about it.
Hi.
Hi.
What's your name?
Brian?
Hi, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Hi, guys. So you're going to read some Captain David Anderson. And Captain David Anderson, you know who voices? Anybody in the room? Keith David. Yes. He's been in a lot of films. He's a super cool guy, by the way. So let's go ahead and start off with, you know what? Let's go ahead and do the third scene, since that'll give us a little 1, 2, 3. Actually, third scene. On the second page there in the middle. And Dee, if you could go ahead and read the player line into the Captain David Anderson line.
Okay, don't start patting yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see where we're at?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read you in. Don't start patting yourself on the back just yet. Sovereign wasn't alone. The rest of the Reapers are still out there, and I'm going to find the way to stop him.
Shepard's right. Humanity is ready to do its part. United with the rest of the Council, we have the strength to overcome any challenge. When the Reapers come, we must stand side by side. We must fight against them as one, and together we will drive them back into dark space.
Nice job.
Ooh.
Okay. Let's take that one more time. Now that you had a chance to go through it once, so I always give actors another opportunity. We never do it in one take. And Dee, I'll have you start it off again and let you really take it out. Call it take 2.
Yeah, don't start patting yourself on the back just yet. Sovereign wasn't alone. The rest of the Reapers are still out there, and I am going to find a way to stop them.
Shepard's right. Humanity is ready to do its part. United with the rest of the Council, we have the strength to overcome any challenge. When the Reapers come, we must stand side by side. We must fight them as one, and together we will drive them back into dark space.
Excellent job.
Nice job. Excellent. I have a copy of Fate's Day Night for you. Thank you very much. Big hand for him.
That was good.
Very good.
And I liked the direction next to his speaking there. It says, make a stirring speech, and then we will drive them back, was the emphasis on the second part. And you could see that he started to build that, because as a performer, you've got to picture that you are making that stirring speech. You know, the vista behind you, the troops standing in front of you, and this is a dramatic moment before you jump off into the action. And so you know to start out, you know, slowly with the Shepard's right, the realization, humanity here to do its part. When the Reapers come, we must stand by the side. We must fight against them as one to bring up that heat from here to here, and to build that into the performance so it's not just one level the whole time. It's a whole story in just a matter of a couple of sentences.
So in teaching and directing that I've done over the years, there's people that are very good actors that are amateurs, and there are people that are very good actors that are professionals. Everybody has a different line. What's the difference to you between a professional and an amateur in terms of however you want to define it?
Well, I mean, you know, I work with a variety of different types of actors, you know, everything from celebrities to people who are sometimes just starting off and maybe they just got cast, they got lucky, you know. A lot of times, the professional actors who've been doing this a long time learn to read copy very quickly. It's almost like they can take a look at it in 1 second and know the character, know the script, and be ready. It takes time to learn that you know, ability. It's my job, though, to work with the actor to get that to the point where it's recorded and it sounds great. Now, a professional actor who's had a lot of experience could probably read through a lot of these character lines in maybe 3, 4, 5 takes at the most. Someone who's getting into the business, hasn't done it in a long time, it might be 20 takes. That's not bad, it happens. It's just a matter of getting it right. Sometimes we have to piece things together in editing, but it does take a lot of work. Like I said, reading, it's really about reading skills. And then from that point, learning how to act, and learning how to take direction, and learning how to bring things up and emphasize things. And when it comes to serious acting, when it comes to, you know, acting more in like television, film style dramas, you know, it takes that ability to pull things back and to sound a little quieter, and then to be able to come up and be more boisterous. And so there's those dynamics and knowing how to bring those dynamics in. And there's the ability to work the mic, and working the mic is really a whole nother, you know, thing in itself. Knowing how to, you know, actually sit down, like Dee here. You know, he can work a mic in a way that it sounds sometimes like he's literally knows exactly how to make it sound like they've thrown sound effects onto it. Dee, I'd love to hear you show the audience some of these Ben 10 lines.
Okay. But before I do that, can I make a point? I want to flip your point around, because sometimes as a professional, you work with people who maybe be paid money, but they don't know what they're doing. And it's not, and it is your job to not be bothered by that. Where it's not somebody like Chris who gives you a couple of great directions and knows exactly what he wants, but it's somebody who does not know what they want. Or they've got copy here that they're rewriting, and they really don't have a lock on what it is they're doing. It's your job as a performer to make them feel good about this by delivering what they need. And if they have to, and if it takes them 20, 30 takes for them to finally figure out what the heck they want you to do, you got to be okay with that. You've got to not be flustered by that, or pissed off, or sent into some kind of a tizzy because you think your performance isn't right, and it's all about you and your own personal drama. No, it's about them trying to get what it is they have in their head that they hear. And some people are better at saying that than others, but as a performer, you have to stay cool and be okay with taking the direction to make it quieter. Okay, try yelling it now. Now, can you do it a little more insecure? How about like John Wayne? Can you make it sound like John Wayne? And each time your response is, sure. That's it. Not, you didn't like what I'm doing? No. You're bringing your confidence to the room, and that's what they're paying for, not your insecurity. Your insecurity, you can leave at home and deal with that.
Sometimes we get stuck in these situations, which is one of the things that about insecurities and dealing with rejection. You know, actors deal with it on a daily basis. And your life as an actor is about rejection. Right?
You gotta love it.
You gotta love rejection.
Savor it. Slam a door in my face.
And you know what? It's never an insult.
Go on.
It's just sometimes you're just not the right person for the part, and you never can take it as an insult. You learn from rejection, you learn from direction, you learn from everything you get. You never take it and walk away mad and say, those people don't know what the hell they're talking about. Sure they do. It's their production. They know what they want. There's no right or wrong. In this business, it's about getting what the job calls for. And so we get used to that, you know, in our world. We're used to rejection because, you know, we're not always the right guys for the certain job that might require us to do. But we never take it personally. We know, hey, you know, someone else would be great for that. In fact, you know what, all times, you know, probably Dee or myself will say, you know, hey, I know someone else who probably would be great for this part, who would love it.
Yeah.
And then we reciprocate. One of the things in voiceover you'll find is that there's not a lot of huge egos. We, as a team or group, we're small, and we love to work together. We love each other. We take care of each other, and that's one of the things that's been really great about, you know, working in this business.
We're actors. We're part of the voluntary family that is the tradition of acting. We're doing a show together, and so we like that. And you know, we're also not, you know, typically, you know, the famous people being paid $10 million to do a movie or something, but we've got more of the acting performer mentality that's cooperative, that's supportive, and that wants to put on a good show together. That's what we like.
Exactly.
All right, we're almost out of time, so shameless plug, something you need to plug or talk about really quick?
I will tell you a story
Real fast.
that involves both of us.
Tell us a story, Uncle Chris.
I know Dee remembers this, but way back in the day, this is back in I want to say probably mid-90s.
Back in the Shire.
We were on a production, and Dee came in. I brought him in as a red shirt, if you know what that is, with Mr. Leonard Nimoy. And Dee had to talk his lines with Mr. Leonard Nimoy, who is a very, very, very serious person. And Dee sat there in the back of the room the whole time, sitting next to Mr. Leonard Nimoy, and just kind of went, "When do we talk, Chris?" And it was great. And Dee came out of the room and said, "That was the best time I had. That was the coolest thing. You know, I never got to talk with. I just got to act with Leonard Nimoy." And that is what it's about to be a voice actor.
Yeah, it's thrilling. It's thrilling to connect with the things that you love. And you've got to follow the things that you love, otherwise you'll be miserable. And it's really thrilling as an actor, as a voice actor, to be able to reconnect with things, you know, like with video games or like with Star Wars or Warner Brothers or you know or things that I loved as a kid, but being able to be right there with it and perform with it, it's an indescribable delight. It's just wonderful.
Well, cool. Well, if you're interested in finding out more about voice acting, please go to www.adventuresinvoiceacting.com. I want to thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Chris and Dee.
Thank you!
And enjoy Comic-Con. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.